You're listening to Big World Network.
Amazing Grace, Episode 8. Written by James Hellvig, read by Meagan Hedin. Alberto whistles absent-mindedly while working through the practice SAT exam. Finishing with a flourish, his hands tap the desk to a drummer's beat only he can hear. The young man stands, scooping up his paper, and jauntily hands it to the waiting Mother Steele with a grin, saying, "Betcha I aced that thing." Smiling in return, Mother Steele raised an eyebrow and replies, "Really? A perfect score. What are the odds of such a thing? And what do I win if you're wrong?" Rubbing his hands together in contemplation, Alberto amends, "Well, ma'am, maybe not perfect, but close. If I'm below 2200, you can add 10 hours to my work list." Remembering the angry young man who once preferred his fist to his studies, Mother Steele chuckles at his confidence, asking, "And what, pray tell, might you want if you win this bet I've yet to accept?" Pretending to think hard, Alberto cocks his head and rolls his eyes upward, saying, 20 less hours a month? No, you loaned me the church van this Saturday?" Mildly surprised, Mother Steele blurts, "You need a van because—" Blushing slightly but meeting the senior nun's gaze steadily, Alberto replies, "I'd like to take Regis to Central Park for a picnic and, see the sights and stuff. Make a day of it." Taking a moment to think through her answer, Mother Steele nods and squeezes the young man's shoulder, saying, "Deal. I can't promise the van, but I'll come up with a vehicle if you win, and if you can promise to be back at a reasonable hour, and if your parents agree." Smiling broadly, Alberto whoops, hugging the nun quickly before turning to hurry out of the room. Shouting after the exuberant young man, Mother Steele says, "There's still some more ifs!" Tammy stands at the edge of the matted floor as the students wind down. She can't help the swell of pride at the sight of Alberto barking crisp commands and striding from student to student, making minor adjustments. Mother Steele steps up silently next to her, showing her the results of Alberto's test. In her neat scrawl, the numbers, in bright red at the top, read, 2305. Awesome job. Keeping her face neutral, Tammy leans into Mother Steele's ear and whispers, "Holy crap!" Snorting and slapping her friend lightly with the papers, Mother Steele chuckles as she walks away, taking a seat opposite the sweating students. Catching Alberto's eye, Tammy motions him to her with a slight gesture. Calling the class to a halt, he orders them to attention and hurries to her side. In a low voice, she tells him, "You worked them. You dismiss them, Sensei." It's the first time Tammy has used the honorific title of teacher for him. Face flushing and struggling to maintain his composure, Alberto bows deeply and quickly returns to the head of the class. Regis stands next to Alberto as Tammy and Mother Steele banter back and forth, debating the use of her Jeep for the upcoming Saturday. "Well, he did score pretty high," Mother Steele says, deadpan. "Yeah, but it's my car we're talking about here. You've seen him drive," Tammy replies, crossing her arms. Embarrassed, Alberto looks from woman to woman, trying to gauge the seriousness of their expressions. Mother Steele continues, "You did call him Sensei today." Rolling her eyes, Tammy says huffily, "Stellar SATs, professional instruction, and an all-day date in Central Park? What do you think, Regis?" Surprising them all, the quiet young lady pronounces with a slight smile, "I think he'll be insufferably pleased with himself for at least a month." Alberto's mouth falls open as Tammy and Mother Steele laugh and snort in amusement. Regis chuckles softly and takes Alberto's hand. Grinning at her protege, Tammy wipes at her watering eyes, saying, "Good one, Regis. You win. But you have to put gas in it and be back at a reasonable hour." Thanking them, the young couple takes their leave, strolling slowly down the street. Sitting down on the steps, enjoying the evening sun, Mother Steele and Tammy chat about the future and youth in general, each proud of being a part of guiding and encouraging their young charges. Regis checks her makeup and hair in a mirror one last time as her phone vibrates in her pocket. Dressed in a light-colored skirt, her matching blouse is tied in a knot at her waist, and the sleeves are rolled up to her elbows. She winks at her reflection in the mirror. "Not bad. I think he'll like it." Hurrying down the dark hall and rushing out the front door, she waves at Alberto, who sits in the waiting jeep. Climbing in and buckling her seatbelt, she leans over and kisses him chastely on the lips, returning his grin with one of her own. Being cautious, Alberto pulls into traffic and heads for the park in the early morning light. "So your Mimi was okay with this, right?" he asks. "Yeah, she's gone to work already, but she wants to meet you next week sometime." Alberto chuckles, stealing a glance at her. "Finally! I was beginning to worry you hadn't told her about me." Squeezing his thigh, Regis rolls her eyes and mockingly retorts, "Oh yes. You're 30, you smoke and drink, and have only 2 ex-wives. Mimi will just love meeting you." Laughing aloud, Alberto takes her hand and kisses it softly. "It's going to be a great day." Snuggled on the blankets, secluded from casual passerby, the young couple watch as the sun slowly sinks into the horizon. The day has been filled with paddle boats, shows, musicians, and a variety of food vendors. The remnants of a homemade dinner are safely tucked back in the plastic container stored in their basket. Hands that had started to lazily roam across each other's bodies now move more urgently. Their kisses are becoming more fevered, and their breath is coming in shorter gasps. Cupping a breast, Alberto groans in delight as Regis fumbles with the zipper on his shorts. Looking into her eyes, Alberto whispers harshly, "Regis." Silencing him with a kiss, Regis pulls him onto his back, straddling him. In moments they are rocking in rhythm, locked together and panting in unison. Much later, spent and huddled together in the twilight, Alberto strokes the hair of the dozing woman lying on his chest. "I think this could be it. Go to school, get a good job." Random thoughts of the future with Regis by his side flit through his mind. Happy and content, Alberto gazes at the stars and smiles.
This has been a presentation of Big World Network. Visit us on BigWorldNetwork.com for more free weekly series, or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to Big World Network.